The new Gen 2 H9 from Eventide is their next generation harmonizer multi-effects pedal. It's a lower cost version of the dual effects slot H90 with the same algorithms and interface, with the main differences being that it can only run one algorithm at a time instead of two, like the H90. And has a bit fewer hands-on controls. In this video, I'll take a look at the Gen 2 H9 in detail compared to the H90, and the first generation H9 Max, look at its workflow, listen to its algorithms and what makes them special, and discuss overall pros and cons compared to the competition. Before I start, a quick disclosure: Eventide sent me this H9. Other than that, no money changed hands, they have no say over the content of this video, and don't get to see it before it's published. Okay, let's start with an overview. The Gen 2 H9 and the H90 are Eventide's newest multi-effects pedals. They both include all of Eventide's algorithms made available over the years in their various standalone pedals, including the first generation H9 Max, as well as over 20 new algorithms that have been made available on the H90 and are now included here, including new vocal and granular effects. So as of the making of this video, these have a total of 74 different algorithms, each of which is kind of like its own virtual pedal, some actually released in independent hardware form by Eventide. Both include a library of over 1,000 different presets, which means different saved parameter settings for the various algorithms, and you can also edit the parameters of the factory presets and save them in your own user lists, up to 4 user lists of 99 presets each. Compared to the original H9 Max, besides the more capable processor in these, the big news is a much easier to use interface with an actual high-res screen, and a bunch of other things directly on the devices themselves without the need to use a computer or iPad control app, though one is available. Also, unlike the original H9, both new pedals come in only one version with a license to all the algorithms and free algorithm updates, at least so far, as opposed to the original H9 where you had different versions based on the number of included algorithms, and if you didn't buy the fully loaded H9 Max, you had to pay extra to get the rest of the algorithms, so none of that here. Another benefit the new generation pedals have over the original H9 is the spillover feature. So if a patch has a tail and you swap patches, the tail of the previous preset can keep on going for up to 30 seconds as you start using the new preset. Now, like I mentioned, the big difference between the H90 and the Gen 2 H9 is that you can run 2 algorithms at once as opposed to only one at a time on the Gen 2 H9. However, some algorithms have multiple effects built in. So for example, this pitch fuzz algorithm has, besides the pitch shifting, a fuzz, distortion, and a delay. Same goes, for example, for this crystals algorithm. We can add reverb to the mix and feedback. So only one algorithm at a time, but with Eventide, that can go a long way. Okay, let's get to know the Gen 2 H9 a bit more in depth, and along the way, I'll note the differences compared to the H90 when relevant. Searching through the library of presets is the same. Since both have over 1,000 presets, it can get quite overwhelming, so preset mode lets you browse and audition through them using filters either by general algorithm category, which you've got 12 of, or by specific algorithm, which, like I mentioned, you've got 74 of. You can also sort through factory presets, your own playlists, and everything. The idea is to browse and find presets you like, and you can then save them in your own user lists and customize their parameters, of course. The H90 works the same way, except that it's got the concept of programs, which is a combination of 2 presets that live together, since you can run 2 algorithms at a time. Once you've found a preset you like. You can perform with a custom set of its parameters in perform mode or edit all of its parameters in parameters mode. This lets you edit almost all of its parameters, 3 per page, as well as a few generic parameters or common parameters that appear on all presets. These are marked with a G. And you edit these parameters by simply turning these encoders under the screen. The reason I said you can edit almost all of a preset's parameters here is because there are a few functions that are only available using the foot switches in perform mode. More on this in a bit. Since presets can potentially have many parameters, that's not something you want to dive through in a performance. Luckily, the H9 and 90 come to the rescue with 2 solutions to this problem: mapping parameters to external controllers and custom mappings in perform mode. Let's start with the external mappings. You can hook up an analog expression pedal to the expression jack in the back and an analog foot switch controller with up to 3 buttons to the control jack. Or if you want to control even more parameters, you can hook up a MIDI controller to the H9 as well. To map a parameter, say for example, a cutoff here, you simply long press it, and you've got a list of destinations here in the patch, and a list of control sources that are available, or you can just put it in learn mode, then move the controller, it'll figure out where it is, and then we now have external control of, say, the cutoff in this case. And when you make a mapping, you'll see this little diamond next to the parameter. I noticed, by the way, that the refresh rate of these knobs is a little steppy when you use the encoders on the H9, but not so much with an external controller, if that's important to you. If you like, by the way, you can also set the control range on the second page here. So say if I didn't want to go through the entire range of the parameter, but I only wanted to do the low end, this lets you narrow down the range of motion. Another special kind of controller you can map to all the parameters is this big knob for when you're in perform mode. Otherwise, it has other functions. So here it's called a hot knob, which is Eventide lingo for macro knob. So for example, here the LFO amount is already mapped to the hot knob, but I can also map, say, resonance to the hot knob as well. And I could set its range. Anyway, now in perform mode, the hot knob will control both these parameters. Speaking of which, let's take a look at perform mode. In perform mode, you can customize what each of these 3 knobs does across 2 pages of knobs. So let's say if I turn this one, you'll see that this controls all mix, oscillator depth, and cutoff. But if I press any one of them, we go to the second page where resonance, speed, and LFO amount are controlled. Speaking of which, I can turn the hot knob, and as you can see, both of these parameters are controlled by it, like we set earlier. Anyway, if I wanted to point these to other parameters, I would simply long press them and choose which parameter they point to. Say, for example, if I wanted cutoff control on this page as well, and this tabbed me to the first page, let's tab back. Anyway, when we get out of this mode, you'll see I've now got control of cutoff and resonance on this page. So that's our hot knob. And that's our cutoff. And this is our cutoff. I think you get the idea. Last but not least, for perform mode, we've got the foot switches. There are 2 banks or pages of these too. Just like these knobs, you move between the banks by long pressing the big knob or the hot knob. So when you're in this page, they control the hot switches. We'll talk about what those are. And if I go back, then this bypasses the patch. And this is tap tempo, or tap frequency in this case. Now you can customize what the foot switches do by pressing these buttons above the foot switches, which will let you cycle through the functions that are available. There are a few generic functions that are always available, like active, which bypasses the preset, or momentary active, which is a temporary bypass. Then there's tap tempo and hot switch, which, like I mentioned, we'll talk about. And then sometimes patch-related functions. So if we activate this patch, because we don't want to bypass it, then this will reactivate the trigger function. If we were, say, to look for a, let's go for a looper algorithm. Let's just load one of them. So we'd get more functions here. For example, the 1-button looper function, and record and play, stop, direction, speed, undo and redo, erase. So that's why I mentioned that the Params menu gives you access to almost all the functions of an algorithm. You'll often find 1 or more parameters available using the foot switches. Okay, so I promised we'd talk about the hot switches. I loaded up the black hole algorithm. What the hot switches do if you enter one of the modes where the foot switches activate the hot switches is act like a macro control, kind of like the hot knob, except that because these are just switches, then you can only toggle them on or off. And like the hot knob, you need to assign them to something for them to do something. So once you've mapped a foot switch to be a hot switch, you need to go into the parameters menu to choose what it does. So let's say that I felt something impossible, that I didn't want my reverb to be that big. And yeah, let's reduce feedback and moderate. I just wanted it to be really, really boring. And then I wanted to activate a cavernous mode using a hot switch. The way to do that is to long press these buttons in parameter edit mode, and then any parameter that's unmapped here won't be changed, but any parameter that is mapped will change to the mapped value when I activate the hot switch. So let's shake things up just a bit here. Let's also maybe increase the moderate and the low and high levels, why not? And let's add resonance. So now if I'm in perform mode and the hot switch is off, then we get our basic sound with the relatively short tail. But if I activate the hot switch, then the parameters I changed will kick in. And you can see their values change here as I tap back and forth between hot switch 1 on and hot switch 1 off. So we've got 2 of these for the H9 Gen 2 and 3 hot switches for the H90. You can program the second switch to control hot switch 2, whether momentary or not. But just remember that only 1 hot switch can be on at a time. So that's how you edit presets. If you want to save a preset, you simply long press the presets button. You can choose the playlist you want to save it in, 1 through 4, and the spot you want to save it in, and you can rename it if you like, and then press here. Let's say just call it Black Hole 2. And we just save this in a user list, which is an excellent segue to select mode. So select mode is the mode you want to be in a performance when you want to quickly move between probably adjacent presets as part of a performance. You highlight a preset you want to go to and press in to activate it. And then you can move to the next one with the big knob screen encoder. You can also move through presets and select them using the foot switches, move forward or backwards based on the direction you set by pressing the button above the right foot switch. And then to actually activate or select a preset, you press the left foot switch. Select mode is obviously more convenient on the H90, where you can go back and forth using different foot switches. And then you still select by pressing this one. There's actually a secondary mode for select, which you get to by long pressing select here, which is bank mode. This lets you see 2 presets at a time, and you move through the banks by moving this encoder. When you're in bank mode, you can move between presets even quicker just by pressing the 2 foot switches. As expected, banks on the H90 let you go through 3 presets at a time. So those are the main modes of the H9 and the H90. There's a tempo mode, which you get to with a long press on these 2 buttons, which lets you set the overall tempo and clock source. And then the system mode or menu lets you access various system parameters. Speaking of I/O, let's take a look at that. Here too, the H90 has significantly more inputs and outputs, in particular 4 inputs and 4 outputs, as opposed to only 2 inputs and 2 outputs on the Gen 2 H9. These, by the way, can be set to instrument or line level. No mic preamps, though, on either one. The additional inputs and outputs on the H90 allow you to process 2 sources separately with a different algorithm each, or engage in various other routing shenanigans. I covered these in depth in my H90 video, but in a nutshell, you can run 2 algorithms either in series or in parallel. So for example, you can load a looper and then have a reverb play after it, whereas in the H9, it's only 1 effect at a time. By default, you can route a mono or stereo signal into the H9 and get a mono or stereo output. But the H9 does have 2 other routing options. Pre and post lets you choose to have an external mono effect either before or after the H9's effect. And then there's a dry-wet option where you can route the dry and wet signals out separately, but both mono, of course. Then both pedals have a single expression and a single control jack input. The expression is a simple continuous expression, which you can calibrate. And the foot switch supports actually up to 3 foot switches if you connect a compatible tip ring and tip plus ring foot switch in the back. Both pedals have MIDI in and out or through. The input is used for clock sync, program change, and you can also send this notes when using the voice shift MIDI vocal effect. Smash the like button. As well as control parameters via MIDI CCs. This wasn't available to test as of this firmware, and you can use the output either as a through or to send out clock, transmit program changes, and MIDI CCs. Both devices have a USB-C jack to sync with their control app and to receive MIDI in. And then finally, connectivity-wise, the H90 has Bluetooth, and I'm told Bluetooth will be activated here in a firmware update. Speaking of the control app, while you don't have to use the control app to access any of Gen 2 H9's features, it's a great way to get acquainted with the various algorithms because you see all of their parameters and structure at once, as opposed to a glimpse at 3 parameters at a time. Also, if you want to name presets, it's much easier to just type their name in the app than deal with using the encoders to move back and forth letter by letter. Let's briefly go through the algorithms. I'll start with the delays. Band delays are delays with filters. Bucket delays are emulations of Bucket Brigade delays. Digital delays. Duct delays are duct when you play. Filter pongs are ping pong delays with filtering. Headspace are tape delays. Mod delays are modulated delays. Multi-taps have up to 10 taps. Reverse delays speak for themselves, but in reverse. Tape echoes, another form of tape delay. Ultra tap has way more than 10 multi-taps. This is another one of those that's a pedal on its own. So a lot to explore just in this one. Vintage delay with a lo-fi character. Moving on to distortions, the aggravate algorithm, the crustacean algorithm, pitch fuzz, one of my favorites, 3 pitch shifters, and 2 delays. Sculpt, distortion with envelope followers and filters. Again, all of these have multiple algorithms. Weed Whacker is a 2-stage overdrive. The EQ algorithms are basically a combo EQ compressor. Let's just go through a few of these presets. Then we've got our Granular class algorithms, which could make this a very long video. Just Cosmic Web within Granular is quite amazing. Cosmic Web is a macro granular package which blends reverse pitched grains with a classic Eventide reverb and delay. Let's try another Cosmic Web patch. I could just leave this going, but maybe it's better we continue with the video.
Frequency, 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 frequency. Frequency.
Glitch. Stutter. Harmonizer again, one which we can spend a lot of time on. Crystals has reverse pitch shifters, delays, feedback and reverb. And again here too, there are plenty of algorithms. Diatonic again, delays and pitch shifters. Algorithms based on Eventides, classic effects, Harmodulator, twin chromatic pitch shifters with modulation, Harpeggiator, a 16-step sequencer, micro pitch for chorus-like effects, and beyond. Octaver. I guess we're going to get octaves. Pretty straightforward. Pitch flex. Polyflex. Works nicely for bends. And this impacts chords too. polyphony is a polyphonic pitch shifter, off and on. Prism shift is another one of those algorithms that you get sucked into. Again, this is just one preset of Prism Shift. Quadravox. This one really likes E minor. Resonator. Staggers 4 resonant comb filters to create ambient, arpeggiated, or reverberant sounds. Harmonizer Plus, as the icon implies, wants you to stick a microphone in this. So for this to work, this is going to be my makeshift mic preamp with this microphone.
Let's listen to a few of these presets. Quadravox is a full-voice harmonizer. And you do need to know how to sing for some of these. Hey, vocal shift does this, and this, and this, and these. And this might correct my singing in interesting ways. Vocal shift MIDI prefers a MIDI controller plugged in. So let's try that. Smash the like button
With the built-in delay.
Hey, 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 hey. Smash the like.
And some glide.
Smash the like button.
And finally, there's a freeze option. Looper is a simple looper. There's only one algorithm, but you can actually mess with this in pretty interesting ways. For example, change the playback parameters in real time. So for example, if I change this into the 1-button loop mode, I can also set it to decay for sound-on-sound experimentation. Then we've got modulation effects. Chorus is self-explanatory. Chorus, even vibe. Flanger. Instant flanger. I think this is asking us to use the expression pedal. Instant phaser. QA. Ring mods. Rotary. Tremolo pan. And there are a bunch of these, of course. Let's move on. Tricera chorus. undulator. And vibrato. Next category is multi, and this just has space-time. Space-time has 2 delays, a reverb, and modulation. Then there's reverbs. So again, we can spend a lot of time here. That's just the black hole reverb. Then there's dual verb. Then dynaverb, which is a reverb with a modeled compressor, and hall, and mangled verb. Okay. Again, that was just one preset in mangled verb. So there are plenty of ways to mangle a reverb. And these go on and on. Mod echo. Reverse. Room. We won't spend much time in this room, but in shimmer, we might spend some more time. Tremolo verb. And plenty of algorithms here, of course. And wormhole again. Next category is synth. These are probably better suited for guitars because we've already got a synth, but maybe we can turn it into another synth. But the idea here is that it tries to detect pitch and then turn it into a synth. Maybe this one can't sound quite like this. Anyway, that's just hot saws. Then there's polysynth, which can take a polyphonic feed. And plenty of presets here. All this from, by the way, this is a raw tone. And then there's Synthonizer. Before we head out to the pros and cons, a quick look at the settings. I won't go over all of these. Spillover time is how long presets linger when you swap presets. Source type is the frequency range of what you are feeding the H9. And then if you want to make global macro assignments, you can do that here. So for example, I've assigned this expression pedal to always control the hot knob. Okay, let's talk about the pros and cons of the Gen 2 H9 and the H90. On the cons side, even though these are multi-effects in the sense that they have multiple effects built in, these aren't your traditional multi-effects, especially if you play guitar. There's some overlap, so you'll find delays, reverbs, chorus modulation, and distortion in most multi-effects. But other guitar multi-effects will typically have an amp/cab modeler, which these do not, though if you're running a synth or vocals into this, it might not matter to you. However, if you're running vocals into this, there's no mic preamp here, which you're going to need if you're buying this for the various very interesting vocal effects. These also don't have USB audio if that's important to you. So those are the main cons. On the pros side, I think what makes these special are not just the pitch shifters and harmonizers, but the years of curated algorithms and presets, the weird and beautiful and surprising textures these can create out of the simplest sounds you plug into them. And you can spend quite a lot of time going through all these, I guess, over 1,000 factory presets, or if you want, just dive in and edit one of the sometimes only 10 or so parameters, but for the newer algorithms, like say the Granular patches, these can have quite a few pages of parameters to explore. Then specifically between the Gen 2 H9 and the H90, on the one hand, if you're spending what is currently $600, then adding another $300 to get one more of these in here isn't that much relatively speaking. The question is, I think, what you plan to do with them and what else you have around the house. If you already have a looper/delay/reverb pedal, you'll cover a lot of the H90 ground with that and the H9. However, there's no lack of madness in combining any one of these algorithms with any one of these algorithms, if you're into that kind of thing. Plus, of course, the option to process two different instruments with two different algorithms in parallel. Finally, I think the biggest pro for these is just how they sound and how they transform a simple sound into something that's quite magical. I don't cover many pedals on this channel, but I do give these attention because every time I feed a synth through them, I know I'm in for a sonic treat. Speaking of sonic treats, you might want to check out my ever-expanding book of electronic music ideas, tips, and tricks, available to the people who support this channel on Patreon, along with plenty of multi-sampled instruments as well. Hit like if this was useful. Don't forget to ring the YouTube bell below if you want to make sure you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.
Frequency, frequency, frequency.
Frequency.